Welcome back, everyone. We've got the 280Z up on the rotisserie today. If you haven't seen that video, the last two I uploaded, uh, that's actually building this rotisserie. I hand built this rotisserie myself, and it's going to allow me to repair all this rust underneath the car way easier than laying on my back. So that's pretty exciting. Today, I'm going to finish removing all of the stuff underneath the car, and then we'll do a inspection of all the rust because I need to get on ordering my repair panels. Going to be a bunch of them. So we're going to get those ordered. That way I can start cutting and welding in the patch panels, and then we can get on to the fun stuff like doing the 2JZ swap. So we'll jump on that, get all this stuff removed, and then we'll report back in and do a thorough inspection of all the rust. All right, now that we got all that crap off the bottom of the car, we can do an inspection of the rust under here. By the fuel tank, and we get some surface rust. Doesn't look bad. Same thing back here. This can all be cleaned up. About up there. It looks all right. It's nice and solid. Down on this side, we definitely gonna have to fix that. It's rusted right through. And patch the inside here pretty easily. I mean, never gonna see that. So if I don't get it perfect, it's not a huge deal. Obviously, I want it as good as I can, but so I'll fix that with my sheet metal that I bought. This is going to probably need. I'll probably end up buying the lower panel for this. I know you can buy them. So we'll need that panel. That way, because that is going to be visible, so I don't want to have to try and shape that and use a ton of Bondo on it to make it look good. Obviously up here, we have a ton of rot. This is the passenger side floor. So I need this whole floor pan. There's no way around that one. This rocker panel, I mean, it's solid. It's solid up to here, sounding, but I bet if we cut into that, I bet it's all full of rust inside. So while we're here and we're doing it, I'm just going to replace this whole thing front to back. And I am going to You see, these frame rails end right here, right at the rear seat mount, and you can get flex right along here, under hard driving, acceleration, stuff like that. So I'm going to extend this frame rail all the way back to the rear subframe. That way we get some strength, the whole width, or whole length of the car. So you get another big hole here, so that's part of that floor pan. The tunnel looks fine. This floor, this is underneath the rear seat mount, and it's obviously gone. So that needs to be repaired. The rest of it sounds good though. Up here, this is where there's a drain in the floor. There was a rubber plug here. You can kind of see the shape up here in this one. Same as this. That's just a rubber plug that's in the floor. So there was one here, and that's obviously where the water that got inside on the driver's side of the car drained out. It drained out here, and it drained out at the back at the rear seat mount. So that's why this is so rotted. So we can replace this. So I just gotta decide, do I want to buy both floor pans and replace the whole thing on this side, or cut it up for sections? That way it's easier to form and get the right shape, and it looks, mostly factory when we're done. Or do I want to just patch this with some flat sheet metal and shape it and make it look as good as I can? The floor pans are not cheap. For both of them, it's like $600, I believe. The 500 to 600. You can buy them individually, but obviously they give you a deal if you buy both floor pans. Then instead of buying one and the other one separately, it's like, I don't know, $300 for a floor pan on its own, something like that. So obviously it would be cheaper for me to just cut this out and form some sheet metal myself here and at the back. But I don't know as I can make it look as good as I want it to look. And I know it's on the floor, under the car. Most people are not going to see this under the car. However, you'll see it from inside the car. And I'm not 100% sure on what I'm doing with the interior, whether I'm going to run full interior, which I'd have to buy a lot of stuff. The carpets were completely destroyed. Or if I'm just going to paint it and run a very basic interior. I mean, this isn't a daily driver. It's only going to be for fun driving when I feel like it. So the interior noise isn't going to be a huge deal to me, or interior comfort. But I don't know. You never know. So if I don't put a carpet in it or something, floor pans or something, I want that to look as good as I can. I don't want it to look like a weld that's just tacked in there, and you can obviously tell that floor's been repaired. I want it to look decent. So the easiest way to do that is to use the floor pan and cut out what I need. However, at the back here, that floor pan, I believe, only goes to this seam. You can see there's a seam right here, and it's lap welded or spot welded, I should say, on this lap joint. And anything rear of that should be stuff back here. This would be part of the pan, but back here, where it needs some work, I'm gonna have to do with sheet metal and form it myself, no matter what. It's gonna be the same up here, even worse, because we're back here where it goes horizontal. Just from all that water just sitting there for forever and finding its way out eventually. So no matter what I do, I'm going to have to repair some of this by hand. This frame rail sounds decently solid. But I think since I'm doing this one and I'm doing the full frame rail, I would rather just replace both. And what I believe I'm going to do is I found another YouTube channel that did this on a Datsun, and what he did, instead of buying the preformed replacement frame rails that aren't cheap, he took some square tubing. Whatever the width of this is, 2 inch, 2.5 inch, across here, 1/8 inch wall, and basically he set it on top, measured up from the bottom to get his contour, because this floor is not flat. If you look at this, the floor is not flat at all. And so he got the contour by measuring up from the floor pan and cut it out, and it was basically perfect shape to just snap right in place and weld in. And you end up cutting the whole frame rail out, welding a new one in. As long as the steel is cheaper that way than buying a replacement frame rail, I probably will go that way, because that way I can make it exactly how I want to. It's going to be stronger because it's not sheet metal bent to a shape. It's, square tubing, 1/8 inch thick. It's going to be nice and strong. I'll get it, tie it in all the way up here, and I'll go all the way to the back here and tie in back here. I'll just have to see what the price of steel is compared to that. Other than that, looks like we do have some rust down here behind where the fender mounts, which in a previous video I talked about how this drain for the cowl right here drains behind the fender and just sits there. Terrible design in my opinion. So I'm assuming that's what that's from. That's a super easy fix though, because that's going to be hidden behind the fender. Looks like it's probably the same up there, and I got a little hole right here. That's not bad. What do we got up here? That's actually nice and solid. That is right below the battery where these are known to rot out. So I'm happy that that's as good as it is. This rocker, yeah, we got a little bit of rust there. Yeah, we got some holes. So those might be easy enough to just repair myself, with sheet metal. Depending on the price, you can buy just this corner right here. It welds in right at this seam. So depending on the price of that, I might buy that. I might repair that myself. This one up here on the passenger side, I'm definitely going to buy a new one. That's rotted enough that it definitely needs to be replaced. And you could, behind here, we just got a couple little pinholes, but by the time you cut that out, that sheet metal might not be very solid. It might be, a lot of rust on the back side. It might be better just to replace that whole thing. Other than that, I don't see any big issues. Oh, we do got something right here, which that is a common place for them too. That can easily be fixed with some sheet metal. I think we found all the rust, or all the rust that we need to repair. So I'm gonna have to buy those panels, obviously, and we'll start cutting these out when I get them in. That way I know exactly what the panels look like. I know how far back they'll go here. So I know exactly what I need to do. Oh, and I also need to buy most likely all of the seat mounts. And I did see that one of the companies that sells panels, Classic Fab, they have just come out with seat mounts. I was following them on Instagram for a bit after I saw they had a teaser that they were coming out with them, but I believe that they're out now. So that will help a ton because my seat mounts are garbage. I could build them out of just some angle or some square tubing, but I would much rather just replace them with a factory looking piece. But other than that, the rust isn't terrible on here. It's worse than I thought it was when I bought the car. I think that's usually how this goes. But we'll get those, and then once I get those in, we'll start cutting and welding on all this. But that'll do it for this video. Hopefully you're enjoying the content still. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. Leave some comments, anything to help me out. I like to know if people are watching and what they are and aren't enjoying, or if they'd like me to do anything a little differently. So please leave comments, like I said, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.